To accomplish this feat, and that's reason enough to have all 7,000 residents of Breaux jumping for joy.
Back up, my baby.
Just like the horses he and his father Jerry trained, Jake Delhomme is a long shot.
He's so focused on everything. I figured, yes, it'll happen if he gets the chance, and here we are, sure enough.
Breaux is a very proud little town, having the Crawfish Festival and also being the home of Allie Landry. They're very proud of that, and they take a lot of pride in it. And as you know, going through town, you see a few little signs that are going up. And
located 10 miles east of Lafayette, the tiny Cajun town is now overflowing with media because of Jake's rags to riches story.
We were kind of told a while back that if, this held up, that we would go all the way to Super Bowl, that we'd be, a lot of calls and what have you, and you never really get ready for this, It's just a good feeling.
It's just mayhem down here. Everybody is just so excited because now everybody's related to Jake.
Goldie Como is the owner of Mulat's restaurant and made sure the topic of conversation during lunch revolved around number 17.
I just hope them daggone Saints coaches were watching that game yesterday.
Yeah.
But not everyone holds a grudge against the black and gold.
Mike Ditka gave Jake a chance. He gambled, and he left, and Jake stayed for a little while longer, But no, we have no ill feelings towards that at all.
Things happen for a reason. I think Jake is where he is today because that's where he needed to be.
And hopefully the long shot has one more upset in him. Terry Bradshaw, Doug Williams, and Stan Humphries were the first 3 Louisianians to lead their teams to the Super Bowl. Norman, Rich.
And that is a great point. Dick is the only Saints coach. He was ousted, but at least he gave him a shot. We'll hear from Jake coming up in sports.
All right, look forward to that, Rich. Thank you.
His humble beginnings as a WDSU celebrity sportscaster to his days mired on the Saints bench, all Jake Delhomme ever asked for was a chance. And the Saints give him one 2 Decembers ago with Aaron Brooks just 2 weeks away from major shoulder surgery. Now, I'm convinced the Saints would have gotten the win they needed to make the playoffs. After all, with Brooks briefly sidelined, Delhomme has been solid in securing wins against Tampa and Baltimore, just as he has been in leading the Panthers to back-to-back road wins in the playoffs. Not spectacular, but solid and successful.
Just look at the kind of players we have on this team. We don't have a lot of egos. We're just a selfless bunch. Guys don't care who gets the credit. It's and he's kind of brought those guys in.
Yeah, John Fox interviewed with the Saints for the job that eventually went to Jim Haslett.
Who will never pass up the opportunity to say, we told you so.
Before, I think Jake's a quality quarterback. He's done a nice job. He's a perfect complement for what they do. They do a good job playing defense, and they run the ball well, and Jake's a perfect fit for him. And he's like a son that's gone off now. It's a shame he's in our division, but, I love Jake, and he's a great kid, and he's doing a good job for him.
And
there's nothing like hometown pride, especially in small towns. We've all seen just how Kill, Mississippi has watched their favorite son, Brett Favre, win game after game and championship after championship for that matter. Now it's Breaux-Bridge's turn. This is where Jake Delhomme grew up, Breaux, Louisiana. Delhomme, who started at the University of Lafayette and later in the World League, realized a dream 7 years ago when he was signed by the Saints to play in the NFL. Now here he is, leading the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. Breaux is about to explode with excitement over Jake's latest adventure, especially Mom and Dad. They're enjoying this ride while they can.
Everybody, wants a part of Jake, and we accept that because, we're proud, and we know this thing won't last forever. The NFL, they're trying to replace you every day. That's the nature of the beast. But we'll accept, whatever right now, because like I said, we know it's not going to be a long ride.
I'm saying awesome. He's great. We want to see him win it all at the Super Bowl.
Quick correction, Carolina played in the 1995 NFC Championship, losing to Green Bay, so I guess they did come close to a Super Bowl. Time now for the segment we like to call Last Call. Our congratulations, of course, go out to Jake Delhomme as he prepares to lead the Panthers to the Super Bowl, the pinnacle of the NFL. Jake was a perfect fit for John Fox's rather conservative offensive scheme. But now I'd like to address many of those out there who are still clamoring about the Saints letting Jake go in free agency. This was a good move for both sides, trust me. Jake Delhomme would not have produced similar results in New Orleans this past season. He's going to the Super Bowl for 2 reasons. He didn't make mistakes at his position, again, in John Fox's conservative offense. And he had a tremendous supporting cast. Now, the first point would have been a great help to the Saints in their efforts, even though Aaron Brooks' touchdown-to-interception ratio was far superior. Jake threw 19 TD passes, 16 interceptions. Brooks, 24 TD passes, 8 interceptions. His quarterback rating was even 8 points higher, but the second point would have been the one of contention. The Saints defense played sporadically at best for 3/4 of the season. Aaron Brooks got little help from his receivers. Brooks, like Delhomme, had a great running back to turn to, but neither player could do it by himself. All of that to say this: defense still wins championships. Just ask Bill Belichick and John Fox, the only two coaches still standing for next Sunday's matchup in Houston. Of course, that's going to be the focus of.
This year's Super Bowl features a heavy underdog led by an unknown previous backup quarterback. Sound familiar? How about the Patriots in Super Bowl 36? This time around, it's the Patriots and budding superstar Tom Brady who are heavily favored over the young Panthers and Jake Delhomme in his first season as a starter in the NFL.
We're not going to throw it every down. We want to run the football, and when we do get opportunities to throw it, be productive and try to be smart with the football, and just do whatever it takes to help your team win. And that's all I'm about. I just want to be a part of a winner.
A couple years ago, I mean, it was just so chaotic from that third week on, and then being in the Super Bowl. It was almost like, God, when's the season going to end?
Delhomme is not the centerpiece of the Panthers' punishing ground-based attack. Brady, on the other hand, is called on to sling the ball early and often, putting the Patriots' offense squarely on his shoulders.
Just the pressure to go out and play well, and the pressure to go out and win, and it's there every week. And ultimately, when you get out there on Sunday afternoon, it's the same game you've been playing this whole year.
I don't need to try to win this by myself. I know that. I mean, I've got a couple of studs behind me, and I think I got a few weapons to throw to. I'm just, one link in this chain.
The two quarterbacks come into the game with a combined 8-0 record in the playoffs. Brady, once the wide-eyed first-time starter, is now the grizzled veteran, despite being 3 years younger than Delhomme.
The game wasn't too big for him, and that's one thing that I tried to take from him is that it doesn't matter if I'm a second year in the league. I'm going to do whatever this offense dictates for me to do, and he's a winner.
I'm not the best on advice. I've made a lot of mistakes. He doesn't need advice from me. He's in the friggin' Super Bowl. What does he need advice from me for?
Maybe he doesn't. After all, in French, Delhomme means the man. I guess on Sunday we'll find out who really is the man. From Houston, this is John Radigan for Fox Sports Net.
Players know that, and I think, I did that twice. Who's this? I hope I don't break it. So just to be able to be in this game this week and to prepare and to play, this is the reason. This is the NFL, man. This for it all.
Does it bother you that maybe you're not as well recognized as other quarterbacks?
No, because that's not what I'm about. I'm all about whatever's best for the Carolina Panthers. Certainly I could care less about statistics or individual accolades. As long as I'm doing my job as a quarterback and helping this team win, that's fine with me. But Jack, I've been kind of called that all my life. I had a cousin who was an older cousin who was a coach in my high school and whatnot, and he was Jack, and now he's the mayor of my hometown. So, it was always Jack. So I just kind of got used to it. But I don't have that much of an ego to let that bother me.
They do their running back, but most of the rest of that squad actually needs the name plaques the NFL provides during the interviews before the Super Bowl. Jake Delhomme is quick to point out that he and many of his teammates like it that way. Jake, like so many others on the Panthers squad, cut their teeth in the World League, and if not for that opportunity, even Delhomme admits he may not be here today.
NFL Europe was great. We were able to go over and play, and I think as a quarterback, that's the most important thing is getting playing time. And, just at different parts of our career, things have kind of worked out for us.
They're former Saints linebackers. Both are now in Carolina, and right now, both Sam Mills and Mark Fields are fighting cancer. Certainly helped put this Super Bowl, this game, in perspective. Jim Henderson has their story from Houston.
The Panthers will be playing for a lot of people on Sunday, not the least of whom are Sam Mills and Mark Fields. Two popular former Saints linebackers for whom bad things happened to good people. Perseverance, persistence, perspective, something the two have taught their teammates have taught them, and they have taught each other during a season that has been both heaven and hell. Ever since each was diagnosed with cancer within 2 weeks during preseason.
They've really been an inspiration to us just to see the fight and the guts, the determination, and that's the same type of thing we have to have, and that's what we do have.
Mills coaches around his chemotherapy. Fields has completed his and expects to resume his playing career.
It's been somewhat difficult watching the guys play because, you know, that's what you're supposed to be doing and playing. But as far as my treatments are concerned, I'm happy because I finished up with chemo and I'm on schedule to return next year, so I'm happy about that.
Their illnesses have turned the tables of their student-teacher relationship.
You know, I was coaching Mark, and then a month later, Mark was basically coaching me because he was trying to help me out with what to expect.
Look a catastrophic illness in the eye and life reduced to its most basic components looks back at you. It's easy to lose perspective as a professional athlete, but it's quickly regained under such circumstances.
You have your good, you have your bad days, but I'm just glad I'm having days, you know, whether they're good or bad.
At Super Bowl 38, Jim Henderson, Eyewitness Sports, Night Watch.
Both classy guys. Hope everything goes all right.
Have to cheer them on.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's not that hard, but this name is nothing but trouble, it seems.
Delhomme?
Lots of people
How you say it?
don't say it right.
Delhomme, I'm from Boston.
The Panther cheerleaders could set them straight.
Delhomme.
It wouldn't be so bad, but all the radio shows, even national TV, are getting it wrong. You'd think by now, with all that's happened, they'd know.
Delhomme.
But a year ago, we probably would have said it the same way. Here's the right way, real slow.
Delhomme.
Panther fans say it's child play saying it right.
Delhomme.
The airline pilot who flew these fans in needs to study up.
The pilot said anyone that is wearing a Delhomme jacket could have a free drink today.
But take it from these folks, that's not the way to say it.
Delhomme. Jake Delhomme.
And you should know.
I should know because I raised him. I'm his mom.
And Mom knows best on this one.
Steve Onesorge for CBS News.
Channel 4's Eyewitness News Night Watch.
What a difference a year makes, from the sidelines to the Super Bowl. All Jake Delhomme ever wanted was a chance. He took it and ran with it all the way to a new Super Bowl record.
He might be playing for Carolina, but no one cheered him on more than his friends and fans of hometown Breaux Bridge. Up until the final seconds, it was a tie game. And though Jake isn't celebrating tonight, 4 former LSU Tigers are.
Good evening, I'm Mike Haas.
And I'm Karen Swenson. Just as it ended here in New Orleans 2 years ago, the Super Bowl was decided in the final seconds. Juan Kincaid is here now with that exciting finish. Some have called it the best game in Super Bowl history.
I would be hard to argue about that. And how coincidental is it that, you know, the guy kicks the field goal again? Strange, but sad for Jake Delhomme. But it was a slow start to Super Bowl 38. But what a finish, though. The Patriots and Panthers playing down to the wire in Houston tonight. Let's get you right to some of the highlights of this game. Jake, a little nervous from the start, pick it up 7 apiece in the second quarter. Brady going up top to David Givens, 14-7 New England. They were up 14-10 at the half, 21-16 Patriots, but Jake Delhomme coming right back, finding Musha Muhammad. 85-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion would fail, so the Panthers have a 1-point lead. Fourth quarter, Brady to Mike Vrabel. Yeah, that's linebacker Mike Vrabel. Touchdown, 29-27. Patriots win the game 32-29. We're not going to show you the kick now. We're going to tease you a little bit. We'll tease you a little bit.
A little bit more coming up in sports, and Jim will be live in
more
Houston.
coming in sports. Jim's live in Houston with that, and also 4th Down on 4 as well. A lot coming up.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Well, the faithful in Jake's hometown didn't have much to cheer about early, but they more than made up for it later.
Shauna Sanford has been in Breaux Bridge all afternoon and joins us live with more. Shauna, what a night.
Oh, what a night, Mike. And I can tell you that fans of Jake Delhomme here in Breaux Bridge, well, they remained faithful right up until the very end. There were lots of parties around town, but a lot of folks gathered right here at Mulots. You can see the sign behind me. It says, Go Jake, Cajun-style Super Bowl party. And even though the Panthers lost, well, as you're about to see, there's no shortage of Jake Delhomme fans.
Bring it home, Jake! Bring it home, Jake!
Small in population, but big in spirit, the town of Breaux Bridge is rallying around its hometown hero, Jake Delhomme. A drive-through downtown, and everywhere you look, there's evidence of just how much the folks here believe in their man. At the home of Jack West, he and several friends are taking bets on the game, but all of them say they're pulling for the Panthers, and of course, number 17.
We've had a lot of Super Bowl parties and really have had a good time, but to know that the Super Bowl is coming to Breaux Bridge, woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Not too far away, a crowd gathers at a local restaurant for a Super Bowl party Cajun style.
I think it's great for Acadiana, it's great for Breaux, and it's just terrific. I mean, hometown guy, what more do you want?
And it's clear just how devoted these fans are, wearing everything from Jake Delhomme t-shirts to NFL jerseys bearing his number, to this fan who actually dressed as a member of the team. The crowd here says although the game is hundreds of miles away and in another state, they feel like the Super Bowl has come to Breaux Bridge.
It just means so much. It just goes to show you that how much we have in this town. Not only the food and the people, but we have Jake Delhomme. We got Jake.
Win or lose, these fans say Jake Delhomme has helped put Breaux Bridge on the map.
Just a lot of recognition for the area. Great state to be from, and it's just one more sign that we've got great people from down here.
And I can tell you, as the fans left the party tonight, they were chanting, "We love Jake." He is still a hero to them, and they say that when he returns home, they plan to welcome him with open arms. Reporting live in Breaux Bridge, I'm Shauna Sanford, Channel 4 Eyewitness News, Night Watch.
All right, Shauna, thanks very much.
And now turning to more.
Jim Henderson is standing by with more. Hi, Jim.
Hey Juan, how you doing? As you mentioned, a very slow start to this game, but boy, what a finish in the first half and of course in the fourth quarter and the second half. In the second quarter, these two teams combined to score on their last 4 possessions. In the fourth quarter, these two teams combined to score on their last 5 possessions. With Tom Brady and Jake Delhomme, they're like heavyweights in the 15th round of a title fight. One stunning the other coming back, another roundhouse right landing, and then another by the opponent. That's the way it went back and forth, but it was Tom Brady who got in the last shot.
You know, we've been down before, so I think we just were trying to keep our poise, and you realize that in games like this, you just got to play for 60 minutes, and we came in at halftime feeling good. I think we're feeling we can move the ball, you know, and they made some really big plays in that game, and Jake Delhomme threw the crap out of it on our defense, which you don't see very much, but you know, we made enough plays there at the end to win it, and I think doing a good job coming back when we were down.
It's just probably one of the worst feelings in the world. You know, it's you can't explain what you feel right now. It's just, you know, since March 24th we started, and then July 24th when we started the off season, and now it's over. It's been a great ride, I understand that, but right now it's just hard.
And what a great game Jake Delhomme had after a very slow start, showing the heart he always showed as a collegian, always showed as a member of the Saints, and now shows for the Carolina Panthers. And if this score is reversed, Jake Delhomme is your Super Bowl most valuable player and not Tom Brady. Juan, back to you.
No doubt about that, Jim. Thanks very much. We're going to have plenty of Super Bowl stuff on tonight.
Well, you know, we just have to go out and play our game.
I just wanted to watch the celebration and let it hurt even more. You know, just you know, when the days this off season and in 2 days when I'm going to be complaining and whining, just want to keep on working, just try to get back here and try to be on the other side of that rope.
All right, now we want to go back out to Houston, check in with Channel 4's Jim Henderson. He has been manning our coverage there all week long. He joins us live with much more now. Jim, in your memory, maybe the best Super Bowl ever?
You know, I really think it was, Juan, especially the way it started. Everybody predicted a very low-scoring game, probably a boring game. I think the over and under was 38 points in this game, and the way it started, that scoreless first quarter, that's exactly what you expected. Then in the second quarter, as soon as one team did something, the other answered. It was a back-and-forth game in the second quarter, and certainly in the fourth. I think all the credit in the world goes to both of these teams. They're so resilient. There's so much heart on both of these teams, and the two quarterbacks certainly exemplify that. You know, I talked to Adam Vinatieri earlier this week, as everybody else in the world did, about winning the game 2 years ago, and he remarked on how that's the way it is for a kicker. You're usually either the hero or the GOAT. Well, if Adam Vinatieri doesn't have a chance at that field goal to win the game, he's probably one of the game's GOATs after having a field goal blocked, after missing another short field goal. John Casey looms as one of the heroes because he kicks that 50-yarder on the final play of the second quarter. But then Casey, with that short kickoff, really gave New England a very short field with which to work and set up Vinatieri's game winner. So Vinatieri's now the hero, and John Casey's one of the GOATs. Yeah, he started a little slowly. He was getting a lot of pressure. His receivers were covered up pretty well. They did a very good job on the Panther running game in that first quarter, and of course that's where it all begins and ends for the Panthers. They want to run the football primarily, but then they started getting Jake into what he calls his red ball offense. They started going with a 2-minute drill, a hurry-up offense, and that seemed to kickstart him into a rhythm that he really had through much of the rest of the game. At the end of the game and in the post-game locker room in the session that he had with the media, he said to some people, one person asked him, have you ever played a game that hurt this much to lose? And he said, yeah, I think back in the 6th grade I lost a game and it really hurt. And the lady asked, well, what did you do? And he said, well, I cried. And she said, what will you do after this one, cry? And he said, I already have. But there's no reason for Jake Delhomme to shed any tears over his performance here tonight. He played spectacular football, and he said all the things afterwards that you would expect Jake Delhomme to say.
Jim, were you in the locker room with him afterwards? Did it seem like he felt like he shook off some early nerves in this game, and that's why he continued to play better as the game went on?
I think so. He was probably a little bit nervous early. I asked him, and maybe we'll hear some of this, about the fact that he maybe proved something to the world. Here's a man from very humble origin, an undrafted free agent who the Saints cut 5 times, and as I mentioned earlier, very easily could have been the most valuable player of this game. And Jake, of course, was very self-effacing, said none of that means anything, just simply because his football team didn't win this very close, tough game here tonight.
It was a little different, you know, both defenses were playing outstanding, and then, you know, it just took the offenses a little time to warm up, and once we did, it was just another game, you know. I was lucky enough having receivers make plays for me, and we were doing some good things on offense. We were getting confident. They were doing some good things, and we ran out of time.
Did you prove anything to yourself tonight? Was that needed? I mean, you're 1 point away from being the MVP in this.
Well, I wanted to be 1 point away from being on the winning team, you know, and I don't know if I proved anything to myself. All I care about is proving to my teammates that I'll do whatever it takes for them to win, to help them win, and we tried tonight, but we came up short. What's going through my heart and mind right now is that I'd love to be number 92, and I'd love to be in Druzy sitting over. I'd love to be one of those guys, to feel what it's like to be on the winning side. That's what's going through my mind right now.
You feel like you lost the game or just ran out of time?
Certainly, I'm going to say I feel like we ran out of time. That's what I believe in. That's what I truly believe in. But, you know, yeah, we did run out of time. Just kind of wish the game could have been 60.5 minutes.
I'll tell you what, these are 2 of the classiest football teams and 2 of the classiest quarterbacks I've ever had the pleasure to cover in my long history covering the NFL. Tom Brady's an absolute prince. Jake Delhomme acquitted himself so well on the field and off it. He brought great credit to the Carolina Panthers, to the state of Louisiana, and certainly to Breaux, Louisiana. Juan?
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Stay dry and safe coming back home tomorrow. All right, still this week, didn't they?
That's right. Perhaps the first family of the NFL. And Peyton Manning's making his 4th consecutive trip to the Pro Bowl. But his first trip to Hawaii was back in 1980 when another famous Manning played in the very first game here in Honolulu. The NFL moved the Pro Bowl to Hawaii after the 1979 season. In that game, Archie Manning completed 9 of 10 passes and threw a touchdown, helping the NFC win the game 37-27. But he hasn't returned since.
I haven't been back to the Pro Bowl.
I've invited him every year.
This is his 4th time, and I don't know. You know, it was fun for us to bring our children, but I really do remember what a fun week that was with other players, meet other players and do things. And Livy and I never wanted to kind of get in the way. But when he told me this was the 25th one, I said, man, you know, something every day reminds me how old I am, Chris. But 25 years ago, I just can't believe it. I remember I brought these guys, Cooper and Peyton, and they were all over the beach, and a lot of guys spent a lot of time with them. So it was a fun time.
Peyton was 4 years old when he made that first trip to Honolulu, where he had the privilege to get to know the best players in the NFL. One of those players accidentally put a scare into the Manning family.
My mom tells me, like I said, I wish I could remember, but just the story in itself makes it special for me. She said one particular day she couldn't find me for an hour, and I think she was convinced I was on the bottom of the ocean and just about giving up.
Everybody's everywhere, and they ventured off, and they could go up to the room on their own and everything like that. But you know, like 5 o'clock, okay, let's gather them up. Okay, where's Peyton?
It turns out I walk up the beach, and I've been down with Walter Payton for the past hour and a half just hanging out with him. So I was in good hands with Walter, and obviously he and my dad are good friends, both being from Mississippi and playing against each other. That's a pretty cool story.
He always came up to him, always carrying him around, always pulling typical practical jokes too, that Walter always did. Well, you know, this was his namesake. This was his guy. Walter always said that I named Peyton after him. And I said...
Spelling's different.
I said, Walter, you know, I spell it different, and I had an uncle named Peyton. It was a family name, but if you want to, you know, I could have done a lot worse. So Walter always said that I named Peyton after him.
I heard that story, you know, kind of growing up, and just to be able to do that 25 years ago and bring my dad back and my mom back after they brought me over here when I was 4 years old, it's really been a fun week.
Now, Peyton brought his entire family for the most part. Cooper, the oldest brother, is the comedian of the family. Eli, who has a chance to join Peyton as the first player taken in the draft, stayed back in Florida to train and get ready for the draft. So yes, Boomer, this is the first family of the NFL.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And what I got
Really nothing like a hometown pride, especially when you have produced so many stars to be proud of. Today in Breaux, the people of this small town rolled out a big welcome back to a Super Bowl quarterback, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, and 3 members of this year's national champions of college football. Natalie Angel has the story on the scene in Breaux.
Today's parade stretched 1.5 miles long. Nearly 10,000 people lined every inch of the street along the way.
Football's king in South Louisiana, and especially down in Breaux. It's king, and you know, they're proud of us.
They are here to greet their born and raised heroes, 3 players from the national champion LSU Tigers, as well as NFL Rookie of the Year Dominique Davis of the Houston Texans, and of course, Jake Delhomme of the Super Bowl 38 Carolina Panthers.
We have a whole lot of talent here. It's a small town, but it's a bunch of talent. So we're just trying to put Breaux on the map, so when scouts come in town, just come check out the young guys and give them a chance too.
It makes me proud to be where I'm from, and just it makes me appreciate the things I have, and then to see that people appreciate the things that we're doing, it makes you want to work harder and get back out there and do it again for everybody.
And you can be sure the proud people of Breaux will be there waiting to celebrate. This is an especially exciting time for Jake Delhomme. It's been a journey since his days with the Saints, but since his departure, life has been good, and he gives a lot of thanks to his biggest fans.
It took a long road, but I've had people behind me, and not only family but friends, and just, hey, keep it up. We know you can do it, and that's always a good feeling. You have a bunch of people pulling for you.
And those same people that have pulled for Jake Delhomme throughout the years are the first to put him back in his place. For example, the other mayor of Breaux, Jack Delhomme.
Well, you must remember one thing. Jake might have been the starting quarterback for the Super Bowl, but I'm the starting quarterback in Breaux.
There is no doubt the people of Breaux are extremely excited about their local heroes like Jake Delhomme. But this parade celebrates much more than that. It celebrates a little place they call home.
It's just been kind of neat because the small town's kind of finally on the map, you know? And it's got a lot of publicity for them, and we have a lot to offer, you know, besides these people, our culture, our friendliness.
It shows what Breaux is made of now. It's not just a little Cajun town, you know, that just has this big crawfish festival. You know, they have talent, and you know, the talent's finally stepping up and rising to the top.
The top of the college ranks, pros, and beyond. Reporting from Breaux, I'm Natalie Angel, Fox 8 Sports.
M.Loomis had mixed emotions watching the Super Bowl, seeing division rival Carolina points away from clinching a title.
It's encouraging in the sense that we believe we're, you know, every bit as talented a team. It's frustrating in that we didn't get the job done. So it's, you know, it's both at the same time, and you know, we're competitive here. We don't like to see teams in our division do well when, you know, at our expense.
Loomis hopes to reverse roles with the help of a few off-season moves. For the 3rd straight year, the Saints' primary focus will be defense.
I think we need to, you know, make an effort to improve our talent on defense, improve our depth, improve our speed. Maybe get a little younger in certain areas.
Loomis's first off-season priority will be to re-sign defensive end Darren Howard. Negotiations continue, but don't look for a deal anytime soon. The top needs on defense are at cornerback and linebacker. Dale Carter is likely done as a Saint. The front office feels comfortable with Fred Thomas as a starter, who would like to add 1 or 2 more corners. Middle linebackers are difficult to pick up in free agency, so the Saints will either go to camp with C. Grant and Orlando Ruff battling it out, or possibly draft one on the first day of the draft. Derek Rogers will return as one starting outside linebacker, but Cedric Hodge needs to prove he's physical enough to play in the NFL. Adding another outside linebacker is also a possibility. The Saints will also look to bring in a defensive tackle, maybe adding one in free agency or later in the draft. And with 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, adding talent in late April will be possible.
We have a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and we have our third-round pick. So, you know, we're going to get 4 players in the first day in this draft. And right now, I think most people would say that the draft is fairly deep in talent. You know, so we have some pretty high hopes that we're going to, you know, add some talent and add some depth to our team.
On offense, adding a backup running back is top priority, with another receiver coming on board a possibility. Jerry Fontenot will likely not return as a starter, with LaCharles Bentley moving over to the center spot. Maybe the player who faces the most critical offseason is Aaron Brooks. How will he react to criticism? Saints fans' frustrations have been fueled by Jake Delhomme's success in Carolina.
I think Aaron's mentally tough, and you know, I know he's a great quarterback. You know, he's performed at a high level. We'd like him to perform at an even higher level, and you know, I expect him to do that. I think he expects that of himself.
Brooks did finish last season tied for 3rd in the NFC in passer rating, trailing just Dante Culpepper and Brett Favre. On Airline Drive, I'm Lee Zurik, 4th down on 4.
Cheered his name for over a decade. Dalton Hilliard spent his playing days for the purple and gold and the black and gold.
And while some struggle after their playing days, Juan Kincaid found out in tonight's Sportrait, number 21 is prospering in his second career.
Hilliard. Touchdown, New Orleans.
It's been a long time since Saints fans have seen this.
Here's Hilliard running the ball and touchdown.
Even longer for LSU fans. But for the man once behind the face mask, it seems like a lifetime ago. That doesn't mean that Dalton Hilliard doesn't find time to reminisce about the good old days.
Yeah, I tell you what, I do it all the time. From my junior high days as a kid playing in the churchyard to my, I consider my 4 best years of my life playing LSU, and the most exciting, thrilling adventure playing with the Saints.
Hilliard recently celebrated his 40th birthday. That means it's been 10 years since he last ran the ball for the Saints. New Orleans was his home for his entire 8-year career, and he remembers it as being a fight for survival, year in and year out.
All throughout my career, even high school, you know, what was very gratitude for me was that I had a high school coach, Jack Andre and Harrison Pierre, who told me that, you know, the sky was the limit, you know, and things when people say that you're not as fast as a collegiate or college football player or not as big, go out and try to prove them wrong. So that's why I went to LSU. And so being able to accomplish that and then going into the NFL, those same stories came about and, you know, trying to overcome those same obstacles.
Hilliard was an overachiever, slowly but surely building himself into a Pro Bowl running back following the 1989 season. But as good as he was in '89, a knee injury allowed him to play just 3 games the following year.
That was a lot of stuff I went through personally because of that, and a lot of doubt within myself. Start to think back about what people was telling me in the past, and here I go trying to start all over again.
But after an off-season full of rehab, Hilliard would never perform at his all-pro level again. His retirement came in 1993. And after 3 years of soul-searching, this is where he ended up.
Good morning, Nato and Hilliard.
In Morgan City, running his own business. Hilliard, along with former high school classmate Joe Nato, established Nato and Hilliard Contracting Services, Inc., a subcontractor for the oil field industry. He says his struggles in the NFL play a major part in his success today.
It's been the same mentality. I mean, I'm benching off here in the off field, something I really didn't know anything about. The same challenges I still exist. I'm a book person. You know, I have a good game plan. I want to go into that meeting and say, hey, I can sell you what I have to offer and give you a good quality service, not just because I'm a football player.
He says what you learn on the field can go a long way in helping you succeed off of it.
Having patience and being able to go to the office and say, hey, you say yes, but still give me a chance, and I'm believing that they're going to give you a chance and opportunity.
Hilliard's taken his opportunity, and as he did so well at both LSU and with the Saints, he's running with it. Now, when Hilliard retired following the '93 season, he says he never considered coaching, saying that he didn't have the patience. But his patience in the business world has certainly paid off, and as his company coming off financially, its best year ever. So he's doing things right both in football, and he's kind of mastered the business side of life too.
Is he as modest and soft-spoken in person?
Oh, yeah. He says now he realizes he has to be more outspoken because he has to go out and get business to come to him.
What a nice person too. All right,
nice
thanks
guy.
a lot.
Always very classy guy.
Well, we're going to...
2 past Saints greats will be inducted into this Hall of Fame. Recently, their identities were announced, and there was the usual, or the annual, Saints Hall of Fame and Museum golf tourney. Outside the Huddle's Tim Fan Guy tees off.
Jim Wilkes had many highlights on the gridiron as a defensive lineman with the Saints, but today he's showing off his golf game. Wilkes is one of many former members of the Black and Gold who participated in this year's Saints Hall of Fame Golf Classic, and the players take their role as Hall of Famers very seriously.
A lot of us will never make it to Canton, and this is the next best thing, or the best thing for us.
Yeah, I've supported the Saints Hall of Fame for a number of years. It's a wonderful organization. A lot of people aren't aware that it's only one of 2 that team Hall of Fames in the league. And so it's something pretty special, and so I'm happy to support it.
The class of 2004 was announced at a press conference before the golf tournament, and this year's inductees include former defensive coordinator Steve Sidwell and running back Reuben Mays. Sidwell orchestrated one of the most tenacious defenses in NFL history when he was the coordinator for the Dome Patrol in the late 80s and early 90s.
I had 37 great years in coaching, and really the time here was the most special of it all.
The 2004 golf tournament was a chance for fans to mingle with Saints greats of the past, and Director of Marketing Connie Kowal was glad to be a part of the event.
So you've got the greats who have played here, the former stars, and the Saints support that all the way, not only today but throughout the year. But today's a special day because it brings everyone together.
Even a little rain couldn't dampen the spirits of these former players because the Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament is a chance for these guys to reminisce with old pals.
That's the best part for me personally, is you get to reestablish relationships with guys that you had. You talk to any former athlete, and the thing that they miss most is the camaraderie that they had with the guys that they played with. And so you may not see a guy for 5 years, and you show up and you slip right back into the relationship that you had when you both were playing.
Probably once a year that you get to hang out with all of them, and it's just a good feeling to be around and reminisce on some old good times.
For Outside the Huddle, I'm Tim Fan Guy.
Some high school games to look at today, some games that would decide where some district seating involved, plus our plays of the week coming on later. But we're going to start with Eli and Archie Manning, and it was leaked yesterday. This is a story, and anytime the Mannings are involved in the story, they get a pass by me. They're almost like Cal Ripken Jr. They get a pass because Archie is one of the better guys you ever meet in your life. The way they conduct themselves, the way they handle their business. He cares about his family, his kids, but he's not a DeStefano Capriati. He's not one of those tennis parents that are overbearing, and he's not that kind of player. And they've been negotiating with the Chargers, like, you know, this might not be a good fit. The Chargers actually called them in. And they said, you know, it might be better if you trade him somewhere else, that kind of deal. Well, the Chargers, who I don't think we want to take Eli, they want to take somebody else, get some draft choices, now get themselves off the hook by saying he never wanted to play here in the first place. They leaked this 3 days before the draft.
Yeah, it's probably worked out for the better in the long run because now the Chargers, they're so gun-shy to take a quarterback in the first round with what happened to them with Ryan Leaf, and they didn't want Vic. And it just seemed like they were so hesitant to take Manning because they weren't sure if he was automatic. They maybe still want to give Drew Brees some time. Kurt Warner's a free agent, going to be a free agent later this summer. So maybe they can address some other needs because they do have other needs on that team. Now they can trade down, and it looks like they want to go with Robert Gallery.
Right, but it looked like A.J. Smith, who is the general manager out there, it looked like he got himself and his organization off the hook by saying, well, Archie says he didn't want to play here because he didn't want to, because he got beat up so bad by the Saints in the 70s on a bad team. He doesn't want that to happen to Eli. So he kind of wants it both ways. He wants to make the trip, and there's Eli Manning, who won the Bart Starr Award. But he kind of wants it both ways to say, well, he didn't want to play here, but we still get to draft some other people. But that's the deal. And Archie today was asked about it. He was in New York, like we said. Eli's going to be the #1 pick, or very high pick. And Archie says, look, I'm not a meddling dad. I'm just trying to do what's best. San Diego was the group that actually called us first.
Oh, football, even if it's not accurate. I'm not a football dad. I mean, I'm an out-of-the-way guy. I got pulled into this, and I really got pulled into it. The Chargers asked me to get in it, so now they're putting it on me, which I guess that's what they want to do. This was not totally my decision. It wasn't totally. This was a consensus of a lot of people, and a very tough decision, and done with a lot of reluctance, but I'm still not going to be a real involved. I'm going to go back to still not being a real involved dad, and kind of wear the same hat I've always worn with these guys. I'm going to support them, but I'm not the agent. And You've seen that? I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, so, and he's never been that. Right. He's never tried to control things from behind the scenes. He's never been a kingmaker or, pulling the strings back there. And I think now there's no chance he goes, because that's another thing is pretty loyal, and I think he's pretty hacked off that he got betrayed by the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't want to throw conspiracy theories in here and make it a much bigger than it is. Bottom line is, Chargers have the top pick, Eli Manning's a top player, and it's just not a good match. Right. And I think the Chargers wanted to do something maybe just to cover their backsides a little bit, so the fans don't jump all over them and say, you let Eli Manning and Michael Vick get away, and just now they can just trade down, still get a very, very good player, whoever they choose to take at that #4 spot.
Especially with the Giants. The Giants could make this whole thing a lot better. If they make the trade, the Chargers will get the 4th pick in the draft, and they'll probably get Mike Williams in the supplemental draft if that happens, and it's another subject we'll talk about.
Inside the theater at Madison Square Garden, we mean absolutely all sorts, from both coasts and all walks of life. Fans of the home teams, fans of the road teams, and yes, fans of a great family, the Mannings, father and son. This is their moment. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. So glad you can be with us here at the 69th annual selection meeting, which in English is the NFL Draft. Along for about his 8,000th NFL draft is Mel Kiper. Good to see you again.
Good to be here, Chris.
Chris Mortensen for his 9,000th NFL draft.
Good to be here, of course.
And his first with us, but a #1 pick at 88 by Tom Landry of the Dallas Cowboys. Michael Irvin, glad to have you on.
Glad to be here, Boom. My first draft in New York. I love to be right here with the...
Finally, it was a historic and horrific week around the National Football League leading up to this draft, a week when we have rarely seen. #1, the first family of quarterbacks, if you will. Archie Manning, drafted 2nd overall by the Saints in '71. Peyton Manning, drafted 1st overall in the draft by the Colts in '98, and the reigning co-MVP. And Eli Manning, expected to be the #1 pick in this draft. However, Eli Manning, word out, please, San Diego with the 1st pick, don't draft me. Maybe the New York Giants are a better fit. We still have San Diego on the clock. Stories to follow. The courts.
But we have the Mannings, the classy family, getting booed even right here like this. That's just about the drama we have right now. But let's go back 10 days ago when the San Diego Chargers called Tom Condon, the agent for Eli Manning, and said, we choose to negotiate with you right now for Eli Manning. He's going to be our 1st pick, and Tom Condon sends the message, no, we choose not to negotiate. We don't want you to take Eli Manning. At that point, Dean Spanos, the president of the Chargers, called Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner of the NFL Football League, and Tagliabue said, let me call Archie Manning a friend. And at that point, Tagliabue asked him, Archie, to get involved in this process. Archie, as we know, met with the Chargers, and basically Condon called this past Wednesday night, reiterated the family position. We do not want Eli to be a Charger. Why? The Mannings have not detailed these issues, the whys, but clearly it is an indictment of the Spanos family that owns the Chargers. They don't see much hope. They don't see a commitment. And that's my interpretation of the events, Chris, and that's where we're at right now, where the Chargers committed to taking Eli Manning unless something dramatic happens shortly.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but it could even after the very first pick is made, and we will obviously address that throughout the first hour because phone lines could be green room where Eli Manning, his father Archie, are waiting to hear what happens along with the rest of America Let's go down to Susie Colbert. Suze?
Thanks, Chris. Right off the top, Eli, why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
You know, we're not really giving details right now. We just, we've made our decision, and that's what we're sticking to.
Who's influenced you the most?
You know, just, it's not really an influence. This is my decision. It was, you know, I wanted to do this. I was not, you know, told to do this. We talked about it, and I thought it was the best idea, so I went with it. Archie,
1998, Peyton, #1 pick to the Colts. The year before, they were 3-13. Why is this different?
Well, all teams are different. It was kind of a start over there, and people that were there, a lot of people that they had. Just there's so many, as I said, we weren't going to talk about all these issues and all these factors. There were a lot of them presented to Eli, and he made this decision. But every organization is different, Susan.
As a family, how emotional, difficult has it been challenging the NFL?
It's been tough as a family, and it's been, you know, we're concerned about Eli, but we're also concerned about we care about this league and the people. We're not trying to distract or disrupt anything. So it was a very hard decision for Eli. Our family, we're supporting.
We all know the tradition, #1 pick. What happens when your name is called? What are you going to do?
You know, again, I don't know what's going to happen right now. I don't know what the Chargers are going to do. So, you know, if my name's called first or whenever it's called, you know, I'm going to do what everybody else does.
If the Chargers call your name when I talk to you after the pick, will you be wearing a Chargers hat?
You know, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Good luck, guys. Thanks. Chris?
Yesterday, all of us learned of the tragic news of the death of Pat Tillman, the former Arizona Cardinals safety. 2 years ago, Pat Tillman left the Cardinals to join the United States Army, where he became a member of the elite Ranger unit. Like the 5 Marines standing with me today, Pat served in Iraq, and he was on another mission in Afghanistan when his unit came under attack. Pat Tillman personified the best values of America and of the National Football League. Like other men and women protecting our freedom around the globe, he made the ultimate sacrifice and gave his life in the service of his country. After talking to Pat's family, we will make certain that Pat's values and what he represents to America and to the National Football League continue to have a permanent place in the league. Please join me in a moment of silence in memory of all those men and women, all those heroes who have given their lives for all of us. Thank you. With the first choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Eli Manning, quarterback, Mississippi.
Well, a moment that he's dreamt about, that Peyton has lived, and Archie, as the #2 pick overall in 71, was as close to, is not quite at this moment what he might have thought. However,
well, here's the thing about this, is in speaking with Archie this week.
Wait a minute, hold on, Mort. Classy move. He's holding up a Charger jersey. Let's notice that.
In visiting with Archie this week, he has expressed this. He hates this for Eli because he knows this is supposed to be the best weekend of his life right now, and he understands that what has come out publicly has spoiled this somewhat for Eli. And now they're trying to do the right thing by the NFL and certainly by Eli as well.
And he's doing the right thing. But more, and I must get this here. I agree with what the Mannings are doing. It is hard with everything going perfectly for you in the NFL to make things work. And then to get a situation where you think the team is not overly crazy about a quarterback going the first pick and his last name Manning, I would be afraid of that situation. I want to try to put my son, if I'm Archie, in the right situation to succeed. He's already having a lot of pressure put on him. I don't need any added pressure with an organization or anybody that's not 100% towards winning and not showing that they're 100% towards winning.
Let me tell you something. We all know this. If Eli ends up a Charger, a Giant, or make a pick, they got themselves a hell of a quarterback. It is now the sixth, and that's his mom, Olivia's dad, Archie. You know what? He may feel like that's a very classy move that we're seeing right there.
It is very classy move.
And you might want to save that picture. It might be a collector's item. I'm at the same thought.
That's exactly right.
6 of the last 7 years, a quarterback now won. 4 years in a row. Carson.
Eli, what's this experience been like for you?
You know, first of all, I want to say this is a great honor to be selected as the first pick. It's a great day for the NFL. It's an important day. So, you know, it's been a fun experience. It's been something I'll always remember. And you know, just being here with my family the past 2 days, it's been really great.
I'm sure when you imagined this, you weren't thinking there'd be boos at Madison Square Garden. How are you handling it all?
I'm doing fine. Obviously, you know, I've dealt with boos before. I've played in a lot of stadiums, you know, with LSUs and fans that'll boo you a lot. So that's just it's just part of the deal.
What are you thinking when you're standing up there with the commissioner and you're holding a Chargers jersey?
Well, obviously, everybody knows how we feel about the situation and what we've said in the past few days. So, obviously, I don't know what else is going to happen from here. I guess right now we just hope that a trade can happen.
So if you had the ultimate right now, you'd be over during the first round, during the course of the day. What do you hope for?
I guess we hope that another team will trade, you know, me to another team for picks, or I don't know how this all works. It's kind of a new territory for me, so I guess I'll sit and wait to see what happens.
No trade happens, then what?
You know, obviously we've talked about this, and we've told, you know, the Chargers how we feel and what will happen if they draft me.
Great day, a tough day. Thanks. Chris.
Eli, Susie, thank you very much.
Choice in the National Football League college draft.
Eli A.Manning. Kevin Jones. Sean Taylor. Kevin Winslow Jr. Giants? Chargers. Redskins make a blockbuster deal. What? The Redskins? Who, the Skins? Don't you mean the Cardinals? Or the Lions? Chargers? Giants. Chargers. Giants. Chargers. Giants. I thought the Redskins got the first pick. Redskins? Man, I heard it was the Giants. What happened to the Chargers?
The NFL Draft Day hat. Make it your #1 pick.
Never know.
With the 4th pick in the 2004 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Philip Rivers, quarterback, North Carolina State.
As we told you, what did we tell you? As soon as Gallery was gone, now, this doesn't mean there's a deal.
Well, no,
it's got to be.
Listen, it tells me there is a deal because the Giants, from what I understand, had Ben Roethlisberger rated over Philip Rivers. Now, maybe that was bad information, but at the same time, by taking Rivers, it tells you.
Hello, Detroit.
Just a little background on this. Yep. When the Redskins held when Joe Gibbs ran a personnel meeting on Friday.
The San Diego Chargers and the New York Giants have exchanged their draft picks.
I got a great question to ask.
Eli Manning and Philip Rivers. And also the Giants are assigning to the Chargers their 3rd round pick in this draft and their 1st and 3rd round picks in next year's draft. The Detroit Lions are on the floor.
Well, I'll take his vote perhaps as the first part of that puzzle. And here's a different shot of the Mannings. We'll be back. Sean.
Thank you very much, Boomer. AJ, you said you needed a blockbuster trade for this to happen to get out of that first slot. Why?
Well, we're very happy with it. You know, we were going to stay with Eli Manning and see what was going to happen. And as it unfolded, obviously, in the draft, strange things happen, and you take it step by step. And when the New York Giants selected Philip Rivers, some dialogue took place, and we're real happy.
What took the deal so long?
Well, we had some dialogue, and it just didn't work out. I'll just leave it at that. You know, there's give and take on both sides, and we were determined to get something that we wanted, and that's why we selected Eli.
So what was the deal maker?
Well, the deal maker was just when the New York Giants kind of surprised us and took Phillip Rivers. Obviously, that's somebody that we love and have for a long time, and the league recognizes that. Little dialogue took place, and it came together.
If Eli Manning, who stated that he did not want to come here, did you have any intention of keeping him if you couldn't work out a trade, really?
Oh, absolutely. Eli was our choice, and he was going to be a San Diego Charger, and we were going to do what's right for the franchise. And as things developed, obviously it took a twist when the Giants selected Phillip Rivers. And you sit down and entertain things, and we decided that that package was very, very good for the Chargers, and we executed it.
Who was the highest rated quarterback on your board?
Well, I've always told you there were 3 quarterbacks, and I won't break it down.
Now,
obviously, excuse me, with Eli going, that tells you something.
If Eli said he wanted to be a Charger, would he be a Charger in 2004? Would the trade have happened?
Oh, I can't answer that. You know, that's something that we'll talk about as an organization. We know there was a twist to this whole situation, and I'll just leave it at that. We took care of it.
Now, you got Phillip Rivers, who I know you've coveted for a long time. What's the situation now with, I guess, kind of incumbent Drew Brees? Is his days as a starter and a player in San Diego over?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. We're just collecting talent at all levels and all positions, and Coach Schottenheimer in August will decide what's going to be. We'll probably add another quarterback. We're going to take a few people, 4 or 5, to training camp, line up the best football players. Competition brings out the best in everyone, and we'll see what happens there.
A.J., thank you, and good luck with the rest of the rounds. Appreciate it. Susie Culver, back to you in New York.
Okay, back here in the green room, Eli Manning, flanked by his brother Peyton. Describe the sense of relief when you put the Giants cap on.
Well, obviously, we wanted something to happen to trade. We expressed our opinions of what what we wanted to happen in this draft, and we never said we wanted the Giants to do it, but we wanted a trade to happen, and obviously it did, so we're excited now.
From the time you were chosen by the Chargers up until you found out you would be a Giant, what was that like for you?
It was mixed emotions. Obviously, I was excited to be drafted the first pick in the draft. It's a great honor. Something I've worked hard to get to that point, but obviously we didn't want that situation to occur exactly. So you had to go through a lot of press, a lot of questions, and hopefully the questions get easier now.
Peyton, you didn't have to go through drama like this. What were you feeling for Eli?
Well, it's an exciting time, no question about it. For Eli to be the first pick of the draft after all the pressure he's faced in college with the comparisons to myself and my dad, and to him to get to this point, and I just kept believing something good was going to happen. And like I said, still didn't know what team was going to end up taking and where he was going to end up being traded to if it was going to happen. But now that the Giants have drafted him, he's going to be playing here. I'm just real proud of him and real excited for him.
It's a tough way to go through the day. What have you advised him throughout this process?
Well, this was his decision, and just to stay strong and believe it. And it's kind of like when I decided to stay in college for my senior year, and Eli did the same thing. You don't ever look back. You make the decision, and you stick with it 100%, and you just keep believing that something's going to happen. So we have a lot of respect for all the organizations out there, for the Chargers. It was not a knock against them. This was just something that Eli wanted to do, and I supported him 100% as his brother, and I'm just proud it's all worked out.
Again, in terms of drama, there were no questions when you were drafted by the Colts. Kerry Collins is the quarterback of the Giants. What do you expect?
I don't know what to expect. Obviously, Kerry Collins is a proven player. He's been in the league a long time and has had a great career. So, all I can do is worry about, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to work hard. Where I'm backup or starter, I'm going to pretend like I am the starter, prepare like I'm the starter, so it'll only make me better down the road.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Sal, let's go to you in New York.
The 2000 NFL Executive of the Year, Randy Mueller. Randy, how unprecedented is it for Eli Manning to have orchestrated the team he wanted to play for?
Well, Andrew, we've obviously seen it done before in John Elway's case, but what makes this unique is that now we have a salary cap and a rookie pool to deal with. So it's always been a hard trade to make in the past because the money changes hands. The way the rookie pool works is if you get picked the top of the round, you get X amount of money. You get picked second, little less, little less. So obviously, in trading Eli Manning's rights from 1 back to 4, I think the way it'll work is he gets a little less money. Obviously, the guy who hits the jackpot here is Phillip Rivers, who now goes up to the top spot and gets paid like he was the first pick in the draft. So it'll be up to Eli Manning and his representation and Tom Condon to find a way to make up the difference in that money.
We know it's going to be a coach's decision, Tom Coughlin's decision, whether or not to play Manning right away. What would your input be if you were the general manager?
Well, I think it's a new era of Giant football. Obviously, Tom Coughlin wants to put his stamp on it. I think, as we all know, New York, you don't get a long grace period. So the rope will never be longer for Tom Coughlin than to play the rookie right now. I think there's a chance that fans will be more forgiving, at least in this first year, and they can advance the learning curve. I think Kerry Collins is a good player, but we all know also that he's in the last year of his deal. So in looking down the road, I think it benefits them to start the learning curve right now for Eli Manning.
All right, Randy, thank you. We'll be back to you now.
They got to get a corner here. Another Ohio State guy, Chris Gamble. It's about time. Ahmad Carroll of Arkansas, they need a corner.
With the 18th pick in the 2004 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Will Smith, defensive end, Ohio State.
Ohio State is what they need.
Right, well, they got the fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Chris, I'll tell you what, he dropped a lot further. I didn't bet 8th, 9th on the board. He drops all the way down to the New Orleans Saints at 18. They, again, for the second straight year, passed up a cornerback. They passed up Marcus Trufant last year, take Jonathan Sullivan. Now they pass up Chris Gamble to take Will Smith. You talk about value, it's best value I've seen so far in round one. As I said, 8th on the board. You look at Will Smith, consistent throughout his career. People say, well, he's not dominant. Well, I'll tell you what, game in and game out, he showed up, ready to play, consistent football player week after week, has that mean streak you look for. I'll tell you what, from a quickness standpoint, you line him wide off that edge in the right defensive structure, this kid can be a guy who gets you maybe 12, 15 sacks a year. He was a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. Well, up against some elite offensive tackles, both in practice and in games, and more than held his own. People say, hey, Gallery gave him trouble. Well, Robert Gallery's going to give a lot of people trouble, but I think you look at Will Smith at this stage of round one, and really yesterday when I did the final first round projection board, I think going 19 to Minnesota. It just looked like because of needs and things that were happening that he could drop, but surprisingly goes to New Orleans again. As I said, second straight year, quarterback available, and they pass on the corner to take a defensive
Well, one
line.
way to compensate for a weak secondary is get a pass rush going. They are loading up on that defensive line, no question about
I
it.
think they just did not want to make you right, Mel. That's all. They didn't want to make Mel right. I think they took Will Smith. No, it's a good
Let me
pick.
say this,
It's
Michael.
always
Jim
right.
Haslett, they called me out last year when they took
That's why you
Sullivan
don't want
over,
to.
and he said, hey, I feel a lot better than our corners than you do. And I think he was referring to me because I came out strongly about Trufant. So again, like you said, pass rush over secondary.
Here is the most important part of this pick. Will Smith goes to the Saints. The Saints wear black. Will Smith is truly men in black. I think it's perfect. Minnesota's next.